Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan here. Let's talk armor, all right? So we've got tier 1, tier 2, all the way up to tier 3. They're all broken down based on the amount of defense they have. So we've got it broken down like that, but we're also going to cover the set bonuses and what each piece does individually. So let's go ahead and get started, not waste any more of your time. So 0 defense, we have these two right here. Tier 1. We have a gill tube, which all that does is going to increase junior diver. Junior diver is basically going to increase the amount of time you can spend underwater. You get over here to the aphid slippers, light armor, absolutely 0 defense, but it is going to provide you with quickness. Now these don't have set bonuses. Obviously they're not sets, they're individual pieces of equipment. So early on, you're going to be wanting to move around very quick to avoid all the insects. Aphid slippers are not a bad first choice for your feet to get you moving around quickly. Get over to our gas mask. Now this thing is literally, you have a half bar of defense here, but it really doesn't matter. You're basically using it for this gas guard. So when you're going out to fight stink bugs, even though you need stink bug parts to craft this, which still doesn't make sense to me, but when you're in the haze or in the trash heap zone or fighting stink bugs, you're going to want a gas mask. Pretty easy to craft after you're able to kill some stink bugs, but up until then, a little dicey. But watch my video on how to kill stink bugs. There's a really simple way to do it to get your first couple parts. All right, moving on, we've got the eye patch. Absolutely 0 defense, but it is going to increase your attack slightly. Not a huge boost, so I wouldn't be using this when you're going to fight wolf spiders or anything. But early on in the game, when you're first starting to fight insects, you can use this on, throw this on some aphid slippers, you'll be moving faster and you can attack better. It does reduce your damage resistance though, so the hits you take are going to be a lot harder hitting. We get over to our might hat. You see we've got 1.5 bars of defense here. This one's going to provide hyper stamina. Now if we go back to our operating system again, we can look at the effects of hyper stamina. Regain stamina faster. So it's definitely a good thing to have early on. A lot of these little ones early on, you can kind of pick and choose which ones you want. They're going to have different effects, but it's all just going to cater to your playing style. If you're trying to be quick and when you're fighting insects, if you want to be faster and get a few hits in here and there and then back away, that's one way to go about it. But if you also want to use the heavier armor and just go in there whacking away and take some hits, then you've got that option as well. Let's move over to, and now we're going to try on our armor sets and we can get into the set bonuses.
That should keep me safe.
So our first one here,
Safer.
we've got our clover armor. You see the measly half a bar of defense for each one. It is light armor, so if you look at the armor sets here, light armor reduces the delay before stamina begins to regen. So if you're running around with this and your stamina gets burnt out, you're going to regain your stamina faster as opposed to heavy armor where it's going to take an extra second or two before your stamina starts regenning. But you got your set bonus moist, and each piece provides fuller as well. We go back, look at set bonuses. We can look at moist. Your squishy and retain water well. So with that, added with the fuller, your thirst and hunger are going to deplete slower. So that's definitely a good thing to have early on when you're gathering resources. I would not necessarily use this to fight insects, but if you're out there running around trying to gather resources, you don't have to constantly worry about your hunger and your thirst depleting too quickly. All right, next one we've got is our Grub armor. You can see the set bonus, optimized offense. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And they do not have it on here. So we've still got some kinks to work out. Okay. So we can kind of guess what that one is. I'm going to guess that your stamina when attacking will probably deplete a little slower going along with max stamina for each piece. So I'm going to guess that when you're attacking, your attack offense or your offense stamina is going to go down slower. There's another one in here that has something similar to that. We'll probably get to it. But anyway, you see the defense 1.5 bars here, plus increases your max stamina. So this is really good, again, if you're getting resources, but you can also use this when you're fighting some of the weaker insects, larvae, mites, ants, worker ants, and stuff like that. And this is medium armor again, so you're really not going to have that gap in regaining your stamina when you deplete it. All right, let's move on to the Acorn armor. Now this is probably going to be
safer.
This is probably going to be your first decent set of armor that you have early on in the game. You can see it increases your max health, and it has the set bonus for uncrackable. uncrackable down here. You're a tough nut to crack and hard to stun. So this does make it a little bit more difficult for other insects to stun you. And you can see the defense we talked about, but max health. So this is probably when you're going to be fighting insects, you're probably going to be wanting to use this armor. When we get over here,
I feel a little less squishy now.
To these, we've got our bubble helmet, which is going to be veteran diver. So as opposed to the gill tube, which only adds about, I think, an extra 20 seconds to this, your veteran diver is going to add anywhere from like 40 to 60, I think. I don't have the actual number, but you can breathe underwater a lot longer with the bubble helmet. Fin flops is going to increase your swim speed. And obviously, you see on these, there's absolutely zero defense. So you're not going to be using these to fight anything. When we come over here, we've got our Firefly Headlamp, which decent defense, 3.5 defense. There's no other bonus. The big thing with this is if you're running around at night and you don't want to use torches, you can use this. You can see it provides a little cone of light. Now, it's not going to illuminate the whole backyard. It's only going to go about 10, 15 centimeters, whatever you want to call it, in front of you. So wear with caution, because if you're using this, it's taking away defense from you and a possible bonus from another piece of armor. But it is something that's kind of useful, frees up your hands so you don't have to carry the torch. So at nighttime, if you're wearing a sword and a shield, then you can use this as well. Now we get up to the tier 2 armor. We've got our red ant armor here.
Safe? Safer.
And you see the defense, not optimum, so you're really not going to be using this to fight any insects. The set bonus is Humant, and you can see here hauling strength. So we go to Humant for the set bonus here. Red ants see you as one of them, so you can basically wear this around red ants, the soldier ants. So if you make your way over to the red ant hill, the soldier ants won't attack you. Now there's a caveat to that. Now if you're going in there to take some of their ant eggs, the red ant eggs, they notice you, they'll attack you. But for the most part, if you're just running around the backyard and some soldier ants see you, they're not gonna do anything to you. Then you get hauling strength here. So the base amount of items that you can haul, whether it be plank stems or grass planks or weed stems, is going to be 5. This increases that to 8. So if you're gathering building resources and stuff like that, you're going to want to use this red ant armor.
Feeling a little safe.
So now we get to the koi armor. And you see the defense here, little 2.5. Perfect block, and the set bonus, dazzling riposte. Look over here, perfect block extends the perfect block timing window. Now, I've talked about this in one of my other videos, but you have Parry Master as one of the new mutations. This does the same thing. So if you have Parry Master maxed out and using the koi armor with perfect block, you have a way better chance of getting a perfect block. We look at the set bonus, dazzling riposte down here too. Enemies you perfect block are filled with self-doubt. Now this just means that they're not going to be able to hit you as hard, and their attacks are going to be a little slower. So actually pretty decent armor since the update with the Hot and Hazy update, and it's light armor too, so you're not taking too much drain from the stamina standpoint. Next we got our B armor.
A little less squishy now.
You see the B armor, bow stun for each piece, and the set bonus is pollen shot. Defense is at 2 and let's say just about 3 actually. Look at our effects, and I don't think bow stun is on here either. But we can look at the pollen shot. Your arrows are quite stunning, so this just gives you a bonus to your arrows if you're using ranged attacks. So your bow and arrows, your arrows have a chance to stun, and that's what each piece is going to do here. So you have an increased chance to stun your enemies with this. So if you're using a ranged attack with the stun, and then you have your hammer with you as well, if you get a physical up on them, melee, you can keep that stun going. Now there is a little bit of a gap in between how many times you can stun them, but it's definitely going to help out. The defense is actually not too bad on the B armor as well. We've got our spider armor. Now this is the one that was nerfed pretty good, because you had your each piece over here was quickness, so you were able to run around really quick with this armor. You can see the defense down a little bit at 2. I thought I had them in order. Anyways, defense about 2.5, which isn't bad. Again, it's light armor, so you're not really taking that stamina drain, and it actually increases your attack stamina. So as you're attacking, your stamina will drain slower and it rejuvenates quicker. If you look at the bonus, Hunter's Prowess, Body recycles energy with increased efficiency. So the same thing along the lines of that with your attack stamina. Your stamina is going to rejuvenate quicker. It's similar to the Grassmaster one. It has energize here. So along with this mutation, as you're cutting down the grass, your stamina regains. If you're looking at the armor on this one, it's going to do the same thing as you're attacking. So you can actually use this and in line with the Stinger Spear or any quick hitting weapon, and you can get a lot more shots in without worrying about your stamina drain. All right, there's our spider. Now we get to the
Feeling a little safer now.
the old best armor prior to the Hot and Hazy update, the Ladybug Armor. So this one has changed a little bit. We have the blocking strength increased. The Scarlet Embrace is still the set bonus. The defense just over 3.5 right there, or at 3.5. Let's see. Scarlet Embrace. Enriched blood courses through your veins, occasionally activating a healing effect when you block attacks. So this used to be occasionally all the time, but now it's only when you block attacks. So if you block an attack, you'll see like a pinkish, reddish hue around your screen. That means Scarlet Embrace is activated, so you're healing up. But it also increases your blocking strength. So if you are blocking, you'll see your little blocking meter up there. It's gonna reduce, or it's gonna fill up a lot slower. So the old best armor in the game, still pretty decent, still a really good option as you're working your way up. And personally, I would still take it over this armor here, which yes, the Black Ant armor is tier 2. You look at stun on each piece, and then the set bonus of pincushion. So you got the same defense as the Ladybug armor at 3.5. But we look at the effects here, or the set bonuses rather. What was it? Pincushion, that's right. So reflects some damage back at the attacker. So as you're getting hit, this is going to do a little bit of a damage to the insects that you're fighting as well, which really not a fan of it. It really doesn't do too much. It's a cool idea, but with this being heavy armor and worried about stamina, not a fan of this. The stun is nice because it does add a stun on there, so if you are using weapons that have a capability of stun, it'll help, but not my favorite armor. So that's it for tier 2. Now we move on to the tier 3. We can look at the Marksman Cap here. So we know what this is. It's for your bow attack. It's going to increase your bow attack. It's light armor. It actually does a lot. So if you're using the crossbow and the Antlion armor, you're going to see a huge boost. I think the Antlion armor with the crossbow is probably my new favorite setup. But the Antlion armor in general is my favorite. We of course have the Mask of the Mother Demon. Just a 3.5 defense, poison coating, so any insects that have the capability to poison you, that's going to be reduced. Medium armor, so not too bad, but really wish we actually had a full set of Broodmother gear. So then we get to the Antlion armor and the Roly Poly armor. So let's go ahead and check these out. So the Antlion armor, you can see the sizzle protection there, so a lot of times you're going to be wearing this when you're out in the sandbox because worrying about your putting fresh defense on to give you that sizzle protection and the burn resist isn't really beneficial. But if you look at the set bonus here, quick draw, and the fact that it's light armor is a huge benefit. So your stamina, which you're going to be worried about constantly in the late game, insects fighting and stuff like that in the areas, the haze lab and stuff, it's a huge boon being light armor. Quick draw, so faster reload speed while in combat. So that's what we mentioned about with the crossbow, having that longer reload time. If you have this along with Marksman, or the Marksman Cap, well, not the Marksman Cap, but if you're using that with Sharpshooter and the crossbow, you'll be able to rip off about 4 or 5 shots before you reload, which is super nice. Obviously the defense on this one too, you're at 3.5, so it's in line with the Ladybug armor and the Black Ant armor, but the fact that it's light armor means you really don't have to pay that much attention to your stamina. It's a super good armor to have right now. Then we can get to the Roly Poly armor. Probably the coolest looking, but not my favorite. You can see the defense is at 4, so it's got a little bit of a defense over the Ladybug, Black Ant, and Antlion armor. But it's heavy armor again, so when you're using this, you constantly have to worry about your stamina, especially if you're using some bigger weapons like the Antlion Greatsword or the Mint Mace or the Morning Star. Your stamina is going to be wiped out, and it's going to take a lot longer to regen because it's heavy armor. So you're going to have that little gap of time before your stamina starts to regen. Invincible shielding and block stun. Same thing, block stun. So you won't be able to get stunned as easily. But invincible shielding, chance to automatically repair a shield on block, which is nice. But if you're not using a shield, if you're using a two-handed mace or something like that, this does nothing for you. So really cool armor, but not my favorite. So go to my favorite right here. This is going to be my setup. If I'm fighting, go ahead and show you guys what setup I basically use all the time. I have my Blade Master, Parry Master, Meat Shield, and then depending on what I'm doing, I'll probably have a Coup de Grace on there phase 2 with a 25% hit chance. Just because this is light armor, and again, stamina is the name of the game when you're fighting. You want that stamina to stay high, and you want it to regen quicker too. And with it being 3.5 defense, so just that little half bar that you're missing from the Roly Poly armor, this one's just a lot better. You can move around a lot faster, and you're not going to take a big L when you're using the heavier armor or the heavier weapons like the Antlion Greatsword or the Mint Mace or the Broodmother's what do you call it? Jesus, I can't frickin' think of it. The Club of the Mother Demon. So, and you can see down here, this is basically my setup. So I use the Antlion Greatsword, the crossbow, Black Ant Sword, and the Black Ant Shield. Typically, if I'm going against smaller stuff, I'll just use this. The bigger things like the Roly Poly and the some of the Antlions, I might use the Antlion Greatsword. It all depends. So that's all we got for this video, guys. Like I said, all of it's going to depend on your play style. If you want to be a more tankish and you can absorb those hits and then do the heavier damage, then go for it. Or if you want to stick around with the lighter armor to move quicker and maybe get some ranged attacks in there, it's all going to be up to you. But for me, Antlion armor all day long. That's the #1 armor for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Stay original, my friends, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.